Welcome to Let's Begin to Crochet. As you can see, I'm very comfortable and I invite you to do the same. The first thing we usually do when we get into a project is to elect a color. Well, I went to the yarn department and I selected a nice light acrylic. The reason that is important is that it will be much easier for you to see your stitches as you work. And they're much easier to see in a light colored, non-variegated yarn. And then as you pick up your yarn in the yarn department, look at the label. The label has many secret messages. It tells you, first of all, what your material is. This happens to be 100% acrylic. It tells me that it's machine washable and dryable. It does not have a dye lot. Also, I usually make sure that I match the numbers that are on the side of the label. There are a sequence of signs down here that mean different things that are also interesting. The thickness of the yarn, it tells you what size knitting needles to use if you elect to knit, and it says to use an H crochet hook, which I have in my hand. It tells me that I can machine wash and dry this particular material, not to dry clean it, and not to get too close with a hot iron, and that's good to know. Another thing these labels tell us is the yardage and the weight. This happens to be 6 ounces. That's good to know when you follow a pattern, for instance, for an Afghan, and it says 20 ounces, then you have a pretty good idea how many of these to buy. Now let's say you would like to make a scarf, then you would want to have at least 130 yards in one of your skeins. So this gives you a little idea about the material we're using. And also in the departments there are many tools and fancy little things that you can buy. And I would wait until later on. Just make sure you have the right hook, or maybe an assortment of one that's one size larger and one size bigger and one size smaller than what you have and what you need, so that you have a choice later on in case you work too tight or too loose. The first adjustment we can make is to use a smaller or a larger hook. So here we have the two things that we need to get started. And to get started, I always recommend to start from the center out. As you can see, I've already pulled a little bit of this material out. The reason for working out of the center is that your skein will not dance around. You can literally tuck it under your arm and walk away, and it will not roll across the floor. And if you have a kitty, as I do, or a puppy, they like to chase yarn, and then you have the safety of having this right next to you.